What is going on, glorious people? Hope you guys are doing well. Mike and I coming to you from California, the land of citrus. And
so much citrus here, and I think it was a citrus grove, LA, before this was ever created, but now you just see citrus everywhere. And one thing about citrus is there's so many different varieties, and you really get a feel for that in California. So we wanted to give you the ultimate guide to citrus, but not just like grabbing an orange in the store or a lemon. No, we are going
pushing the
limits of citrus because it is one of the best ingredients that you can take advantage of in the kitchen.
And it's like the staple to almost every cuisines. Lemons, limes, oranges. So once you get to understand how to use citrus right, your food's gonna instantly taste 100 times better.
One of the best ways to take advantage of citrus is using the zest. There's so much oil and flavor in the outside, the skin of the citrus. And there's a million different ways to use zest. You can shave it in pasta or whatever you want. But I've been doing these energy balls. I actually use the zest and the juice to really get a lot of citrus flavor.
Balls of energy.
You can go real freestyle with this recipe, whatever you have in your pantry. I like using some cashews, pistachios, and oats. That's the base. I just grind that up till it's like a crumbly flour.
Nut flour?
Nut flour. I add some toasted coconut, a little bit of chia seeds, and then dates are really important because that's gonna bind this all together. Grind that up again, and that will come together a little more. And then the final ingredient, and the best part about this recipe, is you can use any type of citrus. So if you have orange, if you have grapefruit, if you have lemon, it's all good. Just take the zest off first, and then you're going to squeeze the juice in there. And the juice is what brings this all together, and you get that nice texture. And then you just ball them up, and I like to refrigerate them so they get nice and firm. And that is, I mean, they're called energy balls. It's really just like a healthy snack. I wouldn't say gives you like a ton of energy. It's just like
a gimmicky kind of.
Yeah,
they're delicious.
It satisfies that sweet tooth in a non-guilty way.
Moving along, I think there's a lot of cooking associated with lemons and limes, but oranges is a little bit more of a curveball. People know how to juice oranges and eat them, but do they know how to cook with them? So I'm gonna go over to the land of Chinese takeout for a minute. It's a very famous place. And I'm gonna show you guys how to make sesame orange chicken. Arguably one of the most popular dishes, second to the General Tso's chicken. Basically
similar,
the same exact recipe with orange. Take the chicken, kind of cut it up into little nugget bites, beat a full egg, add in some cornstarch, and make sort of a slurry. It's like kind of like a loose batter. And then you put your chicken in there with some salt and just let that marinate and sit for a little bit. Then you get out a nice big bowl or whatever size you got, add a bunch of soy sauce, orange juice, rice vinegar, sesame oil, a little bit of sugar, and sesame seeds. And then the key ingredient here, besides the orange juice, is cornstarch. So you mix that in and you make this sort of sauce that is gonna be thickening. It's like a heat thickened sauce. So then you get some hot oil, fry the pieces of chicken, put them on the side. Then you get a pan like a wok or something hot, and you can throw, if you want, you get some oil in there a little bit. You can toast up some scallions and sesame seeds, whatever, but the important thing is here to drop in the sauce, and the sauce is gonna thicken almost instantly. And as it comes to a boil, it's gonna thicken up. Toss in your chicken that's fried, mix that together really quick. It's gonna happen fast. You're gonna just need to get everything ready. Put it over some rice, hit it with some fresh scallions, maybe some sesame seeds. You can have sesame orange chicken that's gonna blow you and all your family members away.
This next recipe is great if you have a ton of excess citrus. Maybe you've got a few lemons lying around, they're gonna go bad, and you wanna preserve them. So this is preserved lemon, and it's huge in Middle Eastern cuisine, and it's actually pretty simple. So what I'm gonna do is slice the lemons up thin, and this is just gonna help preserve them quicker. You can do them whole if you have like a month to preserve them. And then I just toss them in a bunch of salt, and you can add a little bit of sugar in there as well if you want that extra flavor from the sugar, if you want the sweetness. And then I take a sanitized, clean mason jar, stuff them in, and you can kind of push them down so some of the juice comes out. And then if there's any remaining space, then you can just top that off with water. And you can also add in some spice. If you want to spice it up with, you know, some chilies or some whatever, cinnamon, whatever it is, you can add that in at this point. Top that off with a lid, and you're gonna let those preserve. Those are gonna be fermenting on your counter, room temperature, and just check those, every few days. Just give them a turn up and down so you get everything incorporated. And then what's gonna happen is over time, those lemons are really gonna preserve. And what you're actually going for is the outside skin. The inside is not that great, but you can use the outside skin. You can put that in pasta dishes and curries. And then you can also use like the lemon, salty, sweet pickling juice, which is really great for recipes as well.
One thing that citrus is freaking mind-blowing for is tea. It's especially good as a singer. A lot of times I have a sore throat, or if you're sick or something, having some lemon, especially Meyer lemon, in some hot liquid is amazing. Yeah. It also kind of clears you out in the morning, so it's another little trick.
Yeah, I love a little lemon tea in the morning. Oh, it's great. It's just kind of like gets your system flowing.
Yeah, so
clears you out.
So what I like to do is, instead of making tea with a tea bag, I actually just get a bunch of fresh mint. And you get water. You don't want to get it super hot boiling. A lot of people make the mistake. Mike kind of showed me this. Like, if you're trying to boil all kinds of stuff super high temperature, you're just gonna mess up the flavor, make it bitter. So with tea, just get it to the point where it's really hot and it's like almost at a boil. Pour it over the fresh mint, and that's just gonna infuse this delicious herbal water. And then squeeze some lemon in there and give that a sip, and you will be having a good time.
One thing I've been messing around with recently is putting citrus in bone broths and stocks. You've seen me do a lot of different stocks, but if you add citrus to a stock, you get a totally different flavor, and you get to take advantage of all the layers of the citrus because you add it in whole. So I just had a duck carcass here. I roasted that off to get it nice and brown to bring out all those flavors. Put it in a pot. Then I added in some chai spices like cinnamon, cloves, cardamom, just to really go with the duck, to go with the citrus. And then I went in with just full on orange and filled it with water. Also, I did a little bit of lemon as well.
You say full on orange, like whole oranges, or?
Whole oranges, because again, you've got the zest of the skin, all those oils, you got the rind, you've got the juice, and all together you get such a complex flavor in the end, and it just makes your broth a little more exciting. And then you can do whatever you want with that. You can have a party with that thing. Or you can just sip it like tea. That's one of my favorite things to do.
These guys just sucking back bone broth.
Yeah.
Pretty soon they're gonna be in like beer containers, like on tap bone broth. It's gonna become a thing.
Carbonated bone broth.
That would be weird. Let's screw around a little bit with some pickles.
Oh.
So I don't know why cucumber got the official pickle title, but you can pickle nearly anything. You can pickle eggs, you can pickle citrus. So we're actually gonna do a lemon, like a Meyer lemon dill pickle, because pickles just make...
It's one of my favorite things to do, to add in the citrus to the pickle. It's a great addition.
So what I like to do is make a basic pickling solution. And the simplest way is to take distilled white vinegar. You can use other vinegars, but that's a standard. Take some salt and sugar. You just want to add enough sugar where it tastes a little bit sweet. So maybe like a couple of tablespoons to like a decent sized mason jar. So I heat that up just so the sugar and the salt dissolve, then turn off the heat. And then add anywhere from 1-to-1 ratio vinegar to water, add water, or you can do like a 2-to-1 water to vinegar ratio. Just kind of keep adding water because it's going to cool down the mixture, and taste it until it just tastes good. Because whatever that tastes like is what the pickle is basically going to taste like.
Almost.
Almost, with a hint of pickle, with a hint of cucumber. But that's your basic solution. So then what you want to do is take some cucumbers and slice them thin because they'll pickle faster. You can do whole ones, but they could take weeks and weeks and weeks. Then I take some citrus, and I like to also slice that thin too, like kind of make those rounds. I'm using Meyer lemon, again, just a little extra. And then some dill, just standard herb, delicious. And you can use some garlic as well. And I basically just pack everything into a mason jar and then just pour over that mixture, seal it, and put it right into your fridge. And within a day, you're gonna have delicious pickles that are gonna get better every single day.
Yeah, such a good way to take something that's really good and make it even better. Just a little bit of citrus. Let's talk ceviche, which you're gonna need citrus for ceviche, and you can use different types. You can use, the Meyer lemon, you can use limes, you can use regular lemon, I'm sure you can use grapefruit, orange, a little bit of that. But the idea with the ceviche is you are cooking fish with the acid. So it's like a very gentle, slow cook of really fresh fish. And what you're gonna want to do is get yourself some firm white fish. So things like sea bass, snapper, flounder, sole, these sort of firm white fishes are gonna work really well. Try to avoid the oily fishes for this.
Fresh fish is very important for ceviche. You basically want it flopping off the boat right into your mouth.
It's the key, of course. So what I do is I just cut my fish into little chunks, like bite-sized chunks, and then I just give it a light salting and just sit that aside for a bit. And now we're gonna work on our marinade. And the key to this, of course, is citrus. I'm going to use a bunch of limes and just really squeeze all of those limes into a little bowl. And just for your own sake, for ratios, it's about half a cup of citrus to 1 pound of fish. That's a nice ratio of citrus to fish. And then what I like to do is add a little bit of fresh coconut milk just to really balance out those flavors, because citrus is super intense. So that creaminess is really nice. A really popular ingredient in ceviches is a little bit of shallot. So I just slice them up really thin and put that in the mixture. Then I added some fresh chili, a little bit of cilantro to freshen it up. And now this is the big debate, like how long do you cook your ceviche? I would say anywhere from the 10-minute range to an hour, but you don't want to do like an overnight marinade. That's going to totally destroy the texture of your fish.
When you say cook though, what he means is the citrus is cooking the fish, so you're not actually adding any heat to it.
Exactly.
So don't screw that. I made
just
that mistake.
Gently cooking it, but again, it actually will degrade the fish and break it down over time. So you don't want to go too long. I find, 10, 20 minutes, just try to do it, save those two mixtures, and then at the end, bring those together right before you're about to serve it, let it sit for 10, 20, 30 minutes, and you have incredible ceviche. And you can also garnish that with a little bit of the lime zest as well.
So one of the amazing things about citrus in general is that, like we said, it adds a brightness to it.
Yeah.
You're adding the tartness to your food, but it is such a key component in balance. And a lot of different cuisines understand that they need that whoosh. But one thing not a lot of people know is that you can actually take things that are cheap and make them seem incredibly expensive. We love to do that in the Brothers Green. So we're gonna talk a little bit about infusions of alcohol. So alcohol is a long scientific process to make it. I have no idea how to make it. Maybe Mike does. But what I do know is how to hack cheap alcohol. I used to do this in college a lot. I used to do this back in school. You take any bottle of alcohol you like, but I find something like vodka works really well because it's smooth, it's clean, it's flavorless. And then you put it in a big mason jar and you slice up basically whatever sorts of fruits and things that you want. So I'm gonna be using a bunch of citrus. You can take just lemons and even oranges, cut them up like in chunks, throw them into your vodka, and then you do something like cucumber, which just kind of adds a cool flavor to vodka, and let that sit.
And the citrus is huge because, again, you have all of these oils in the skin, so it's not like just adding the juice. You don't want to add just the juice. You want the whole thing in there, marinating and infusing over time.
Yeah, it's very different. You're not making a cocktail. This is actually an infusion.
Yeah.
So within a few hours it'll be pretty good, but you let it sit for a couple days, or you just let it sit for weeks and weeks, and then you strain all that stuff out, or you just keep it in there and you pour out the vodka, and you end up with this really delicious, fragrant vodka that your friends are going to taste and think that you got some expensive vodka. I find that in general at home, if you can buy stuff at the store and put it in a mason jar, it instantly looks better.
And make sure that you squeeze out the actual citrus, because a lot of the vodka is going to be soaked up in that, so that's important. I would say probably the top use of citrus that I have in my kitchen is for dressings. And you hear the term vinaigrette, which is a balance between oil and vinegar, but I rarely use vinegar in dressings because citrus is just better. It's like, why not just use fresh acidity? So I'll take a lot of citrus and just replace the vinegar in a vinaigrette and make, some type of lemon dressing. Citrus-aigrette. So the key to making any good dressing is just balance. What I like to do is take a bunch of lemons. You can use Meyer lemons, you can use regular, and just squeeze them into your food processor. And then I take a little bit of honey or maple syrup, just a natural sweetener, to add a little bit of sweetness to cut through the citrus. Then you can flavor it up if you want to do some garlic or ginger in there. You can get weird at this point.
Maybe.
Mustard is not a bad move. And then fresh herbs, so like, you know, parsley, basil, these are gonna add a lot of flavor and a good freshness. And then you're gonna pulse that up and then pour in your oil. And they say, you know, 2/3 oil to 1/3 vinegar, but it's like, you know, that's intense. I tend to go higher on the citrus. You don't have to, just do whatever you want, guys. There's no rules to making a dressing. Again, it's finding your own balance. And then I put that in a squeeze bottle and I have that all week, and boom, you've got an incredible citrus aigrette for the whole week.
Boom,
okay,
love it. So green curry is one of the most quintessential, basic, simple, delicious Thai curries. What I like to do is get a green curry paste. You could of course make it yourself, but I'm not screwing with that right now. So I take some green curry paste and I cook that down in a pot with some coconut milk or coconut cream, whatever you got. Just kind of boil that down, sort of toast it in the pot. And at this point you can throw in whatever you want. I like to do things like onions, broccoli, mushrooms. Sometimes I will add things like lemongrass just to kind of, you know, add it more, because the curry paste has a lot of stuff in it, but adding freshness, kaffir lime leaves. But keep it simple. Then you add a bunch of water and then just boil that down for a while. And what you're trying to do here is just kind of infuse all that flavor, cook all the raw ingredients in the curry paste to make something delicious. At that point, you actually want to take chicken breast and slice it thin. And I kind of poach that at the end. I don't want to like be boiling that because it'll get weird.
You want it nice and tender.
Yeah, I get it tender. So I usually cook that just for the last like 5 to 7 minutes. Slip that in, and then you have this beautiful green curry. But when you serve it, you want to serve it with some fresh cilantro and lime juice. So I usually serve lime juice at the table, but squeeze that in there and mix it. Taste it first, and you'll be like, it's good. And then you add the lime juice, and you're like, oh my God, that is amazing.
That is your complete guide to citrus, and this was definitely a tough one to make because it's one of the best ingredients you can take advantage of, and it was hard to narrow. It was tough. There are so many options. This was just a way to get you started with citrus.
So thank you to Sunkist who sponsored this video. Go to their website, sunkist.com. There's going to be a bunch of these recipes on there, written out with pictures, which is amazing. Also, comment below. Let us know your favorite citrus recipes.
Yeah.
Meet up in this video. What do you like to do with citrus? Because we'd love to know. Love to hear from you guys. Much love from Brothers Green. Much more inspiration to come.
Eat your citrus,
Subscribe.
Get those nutrients, get that flavor. Adios.